Hello friends, today I will be giving you some summer book recs because in Texas it's either summer or not summer, okay? We skip spring normally and go right into the scorching heat. So it's already kind of getting warm out, so like I'm very excited to like just read summery books, you know? So here I have some recs for you, and then I'm also gonna show you my summer TBR. Which is kind of small because I have a lot of other books that I want to read, but like these are specific summer books. So without further ado, let's get started. First book I have is Love in Other Words, which is a classic. It doesn't take place in the summer, I think. Yeah, it actually takes place in the winter, I believe. But it's like a vacation home, right? So it follows Macy and Elliot, and it's second chance romance. It's told in past and present perspective. And when they're kids, they're like childhood friends to lovers, and then they're strangers, and then obviously they fall back in love. And that's probably my favorite trope ever, like childhood friends to lovers. Love it. I love it. This book is actually the book that got me into reading. I think this book is the gateway into reading. Like, I finished this book so fast, you guys wouldn't even understand. Like, it was just, I was obsessed, and I wanted something like this, and I kept chasing for this feeling. I was giddy, especially when they're kids. It was just so cute seeing them fall in love, and then when they're adults as well, you know, like all the memories and stuff. But basically it's like a vacation town kind of, and she goes often, but she doesn't live there. So he lives there, so she just goes and visits as often as she can. But it's not specific to the summer, so do it that way you will. But I mean, like I said, vacation vibes, and I read it so fast, and I think I did read it in the summer. I'm not sure. Another Christina Lauren book, The Unhoneymooners. This one is so like rom-com-y. It's just, I love it. So basically it follows Olive. And what was the guy's name? Ethan. So at her sister's wedding, it was her sister and his brother. They got married, and at the wedding, everybody got sick off some shrimp except them, because they're the only ones that didn't eat it. So the sister tells her, please, 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 take my honeymoon so it doesn't go to waste. So they hate each other, actually, but they go on the honeymoon, you know, for her sister's sake and his brother's sake. And while they're there, you know, things start to, you know, because they have to pretend to be together because they're on honeymoon. So yeah, this one was so funny. I remember laughing at it. I remember laughing out loud, like actually laughing when I was reading this. I think the girl's just like so quirky and funny, and the guy's just like so serious, but I really, really enjoyed this, and I think I read it really fast as well. And the honeymoon is in Maui. Yeah. Next is another one that I am not even sure is specific to summer, but I read it in the summer, and I read it by the pool, and I loved it, which is The Spanish Love Deception. Another book that got me into reading was this one. I read this book and I was obsessed. Aaron Blackford was my #1 book boyfriend for a while. I still love him, but like he's just not on top of my list anymore. But this follows Catalina and Aaron, and they work at the same place. They're workplace enemies. She does not like him. She teases him a lot, and he's just so serious. He makes it easy. And that part of it I loved seeing them banter. Like, it was just like my favorite part of the entire book. But obviously the whole time, you know, like there's always something there, something deeper. So she basically lies to her family and says that she has a boyfriend, and he offers to be the boyfriend. I don't know why. I think they made like a deal or something. I can't remember exactly what it was, but I think they made a deal. And he goes with her, and I mean, things start to get real, and they go from New York to Spain, and I loved the Spain setting. I loved seeing her family. That was like a big part of it. I remember laughing about that, and it was just such a good book. I need to reread this. Because I didn't tab it because it was just when I just got into reading, but like, I feel like if I read it now, I would tab it a lot. Okay, moving on. A Carly Fortune book. This summer will be different. This is actually her last release before the new release that just came out. So this one is pretty different. I actually enjoyed this one. This was probably my second favorite of her books. It's another like vacation-y book, like beach house. So Lucy is vacationing on Prince Edward Island, and Felix is a local, and they meet in that island. But turns out that Felix is actually her best friend's brother, and she just hides it, basically, like that she and Felix had a thing. And every year Lucy escapes to that island and has a thing with Felix, but then cuts it off. And then in this part, she's kind of going through it in the future. I mean, the present. She's going through it in the present. And she flies to Prince Edward Island. She sees Felix, but it's different now. Something happened. And yeah, it's a little second chance kind of romance. And I love the vacation-y vibes. And yeah, all her books are just very summery vacation-y. Which brings me to Meet Me at the Lake, which is another one of her books that it was okay. I didn't love this one, but I can see why people do love it. Because it's told in past and present perspective. Actually, all her books are told in past and present perspective. Yeah. So basically, Fern, what's the guy's name? I cannot for the life. Fern and Will, they meet in like, when they're like 22 or something like that, when she's going away for college, and they meet and they have this like amazing day together. And then they made this deal to like see each other at the lake, at this place that her mom owns or something like that. And they're supposed to meet there, but he never shows up. And then years later, he's there. And yeah, just a lot of animosity because he didn't show up. And then she's also like dealing with something with her mom, so you kind of get her mom's letters in this too. And that was actually my favorite part, was reading her mom's letters. It was very interesting, and I don't know, I just love hearing about the mom's perspective and the past. So I really did like this. Yeah, 10 years passed, so it's definitely like a little second chance romance. He arrives 9 years late. Yeah, I don't remember it being my favorite, but I enjoyed it enough that it was like a 3-star. But it wasn't like my favorite book by her. And then after that, we have Every Summer After. This is the first book I ever read by her, and I read it in a day. It does give, I'm not gonna lie, it does give Love in Other Words vibes, but I read this before Love in Other Words. So I think that helped a lot because I wasn't comparing the two as much. But it follows Penelope. So if I remember correctly, they call her, what do they call her? She has like a weird nickname. Percy. Yeah, no, her name is not Penelope. Her name is Persephone. And Sam. And this one, I loved it so much. I love the, like I said, I love childhood friends to lovers. It's like my favorite trope. And then strangers, and then two lovers again as adults. Love. When I read this book, I rated it 5 stars. Now I would probably rate it like a 4, maybe 4.5, because of something that happens in the end that I didn't really think much of it at the time. But now I'm like, yeah, no. But same thing as like Love in Other Words, where they're friends and then they become something more as kids, but something happens and then they don't speak anymore, and in the future they're like back in the same place trying to figure out, you know, how to move on, and just old feelings come up. So it's the same premise. And this one is, the vibes in this one are very, very summery. This is like so summery. I mean, look at the cover. They're jumping off like a ledge. Okay, and next we have Malibu Rising, which is a Taylor Jenkins Reid book. It's not a romance. It reads more like a literary fiction, but it follows Nina and like her life and throughout one day, because every year her family throws this party. They're like this they're like these surfers, and they're like models, and they're kind of famous. So they throw this like awesome party, and a bunch of celebrities show up, movie stars, everything. And it starts from then, like at 7 a.m. the day of the party, all the way to the end. And then it also has chapters in the past perspective of her mom and her dad and what happened there with them and how they ended up where they are now. Because she basically takes care of her siblings. Like, she's very much You're on Your Own Kid by Taylor Swift. She's You're on Your Own Kid. And it's very interesting because like the whole book I was just like rooting for Nina, and I really wanted her to choose herself, and I really want, she goes through a lot. She poor girl. A lot of the characters here we actually see in other Taylor Jenkins Reid books. Nina's dad is one of the husbands in The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. And then the other book, Carrie Soto is Back. Carrie Soto is a character in this book that was not very likable in this book, but I haven't read Carrie Soto's Back yet, or The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. So yeah, there's like, it's like a little universe. But this was the first book I ever read by her, and I really enjoyed it. It was actually like my first book that wasn't a romance that I read when I got into reading, and I really enjoyed it, and I really liked the writing in this, and that made me read more of her books. And I ended up buying like basically all her books. So yeah, really enjoyed this one. You cannot not recommend The Summer I Turned Pretty in a summer book rec video. If you haven't read this, go read it. It's good. It's not as, I feel like I like the show more. It's not as good as the show to me personally, but I really enjoyed it. I read this whole series in less than a week because it's YA, it's fun, it's fast. Loved it. I tabbed it, and then it was like I was able to see the scenes in my head too. I was able to picture them very well because by the time I read this, the show was already out. At least season 1 was. So go read this, and I don't think I need to explain this one, but go read it even if you haven't, or reread it because I might. And then we have Happy Place by Emily Henry. This actually was not my favorite book of hers, but I still gave it 4 stars because Emily Henry, if you write it, I will read it. But it follows, what was her name? Harriet and Wynn. And it's also like a second chance romance because Harriet and Wynn dated, and then they broke up, but they never told their friends. So they go on this vacation with their friends in this cottage where they always stay at, and they just pretend to be together. And they're spending like one last summer in this like cute cottage, and it's just like the epitome of growing up and like things changing and leaving your life behind. And that's what I didn't love the romance, but I loved the friendships, the setting. I love that part of it. And like I'm in my 20s, right? So I'm in like in a point in my life where things are changing, and just like every moment feels fleeting almost. And that's what made me emotional about this book. It wasn't specifically the romance, it was the friendship, it was all of that. It was the growing up part. Just such a good book, especially if you're in your 20s. Definitely give this one a read. Just go, maybe you won't like the romance, but you'll like the message. Which brings me to Beach Read, which I literally, this was my second Emily Henry book, and I actually need to reread this because I don't even remember what I rated it. And also I feel like now, as a more seasoned Emily Henry reader, I would love this. I would love this even more and eat it up even more. So my favorite Emily Henry book is Funny Story, okay? And then after that, it's People We Meet on Vacation. And then after that, it's Beach Read. And then it's Happy Place. And then Book Lovers. And I haven't put Great Big Beautiful Life in this list yet. I'm going to sit on it for a while and then I'll see. I don't know if it's above or below Book Lovers. It's actually my least favorite Emily Henry book. So it might be, you know what? No, I think I like Book Lovers a little less. So it's Book Lovers, Great Big Beautiful Life, Beach Read. Did I say that? Did I say it right? Hold on. Great Big Beautiful Life. No. Okay, give me a second to gather my thoughts. Book Lovers, Great Big Beautiful Life, Happy Place, Beach Read, People We Meet on Vacation, and then Funny Story. Yeah, that's more like it. But yeah, they're 2 authors, and they're like working on this story. Basically, he's writing a romance and she's writing his genre, and it's just like it has that enemies, like little banter situation, and they're like right next to each other. Like they're like vacationing right next to each other where they're at. And it gets deeper than that, like the things that they're discovering, it gets deeper than that. And it's just very interesting. I don't remember much about the romance. I remember more of like the setting and like the things they were doing and the plot, but I don't remember the romance that much. So that's why I'm saying I need to reread this, but it's the perfect read. Actually, any Emily Henry book is a perfect summary beach read. The title. And then People We Meet on Vacation. Oh my gosh, I love this book. So this follows Poppy and Alex they met in college, and they've been friends ever since. And every year they vacation together. But then all of a sudden they kind of stop, but they go on this one last vacation, and it shows like the past and then the present, and it also goes through like the different places where they vacation. And oh my gosh, I tapped this book so much. But you have to figure out kind of what happened between them and like what's going on. And I really like this book a lot. the ending was like, you know, but I like the book itself, the whole story. One thing about Emily Henry books though is that it's so realistic, and that's why we love them so much. But the miscommunication always gets me. I'm like, stop. Just talk about it. Just talk about it. But it's okay because I love it anyway. And it's okay when Emily Henry does it. All right. Lastly, for my, sorry, my leg fell asleep. Lastly, for my summer book recs, I have Just for the Summer by Abby Jimenez. This book is summer. Okay. This book is summer. So this follows Emma and what was his name? I love him so much. He's my book boyfriend's list. Oh, Justin. Follows Emma and Justin, and basically they think they're cursed because every time that they date someone, right after that, after they break up, the person they dated finds the love of their lives. So he posts like a Reddit thread about it, and then she replies, and that's how they meet. And then they have this idea of, wait, why don't we date each other? And that'll break the curse and we can move on. And Emma is a travel nurse, so she goes to his area, and that's where they decide to date. Obviously, they like each other more than they thought, but Emma is going through a lot of things, and so is Justin. So it's just, this book is just so realistic. It's so like the mundane parts of it are the best parts. I'm gonna read you guys the best quote ever. This is one of the best romance quotes I have ever read in my life. And Abby Jimenez says that she wrote this quote when she was literally in the grocery line with her husband, and she thought to herself, this is what love is. It's the mundane moments. It's like just the everyday stuff. It's not the moonlit walks. It's not the romantic dates. It's those moments. It's just being at home with your husband, being at home with your kids. Those are the moments. But let me read you guys this quote. The best kind of love doesn't happen on moonlit walks and romantic vacations. It happens in between the folds of everyday life. It's not grand gestures that show how you feel. It's all the little secret things you do to make her life better that you never tell her about. Taking the end piece of the bread at breakfast so she can't have the last middle for her sandwich when you pack her lunch. Making sure her car always has gas so she never has to stop at the pump. Telling her you're not cold and to take your jacket when you are in fact cold, very, very cold. It's watching TV on a rainy Sunday while you're doing laundry and turning her light off when she's falling asleep reading. Sharing pizza crust and laughing about something the kids did, and taking care of each other when you're sick. It isn't glamorous. It isn't all butterflies and stars in your eyes. It's real. This is the kind of love that forever is made of. Because if it's this good when life is draining and mundane and hard, think of how wonderful it will be when the love songs are playing and the moon is out. And that was just a very good reminder for me. I'm sure for a lot of people, but for me, like, to enjoy the mundane moments with my kids. It's not the family vacations. It's not the holidays. It's not that. It's the everyday things. Those are the things that matter. And those are the moments that we should just be grateful for our lives. So yeah, love this book. Gave it 5 stars. I would actually reread this. I have so many books on my TBR, but I would reread this summer because Justin is just acts of service. If he wanted to, he would. That's Justin. And that is my love language. My love language is acts of service. So absolutely love this. Ate it up. Could not recommend this enough. All right, finally, my hair has gotten crazier as this video has gone on because I'm letting it air dry. But this is my summer TBR. There's not a lot of books because, like I said, I'm going to read other books in between. But I have Summer in the City by Alex Astor. Pretty sure it's a billionaire. Like, he's a billionaire and she's like a writer. And she's like stuck. Like, she's not inspired to write. She's in a little slump. And then he somehow inspires her. And then they kind of just go on this journey together. And it takes place in New York City. And I love books that take place in New York City. So I'm excited to read this. And it's pretty short. I'm pretty sure it's under 300 pages. So this is probably going to be the book I read next. A good filler book. The back says, sometimes I pretend to. I tell him brushing against his lips. I pretend you're mine. That reminds me of a Taylor Swift song. I pretend you're mine all the damn time. Anyway. Yeah, so this is on my TBR. And it's more immediate. So I will get to this very soon. And then I have 2 books by Elle Kennedy. These are part of the same series. Good Girl Complex and Bad Girl Reputation. I have no idea what these are about. But they're giving summer vibes. And I'm pretty sure here she's a good girl and this girl's a bad girl. Just based on the titles. But it's giving summer. Right? And I'm sure there's a 3rd book. I think it's called Summer Girl, the third book. I might read it, who knows. But I've had these on my TBR forever, and I've been saying I'm gonna read them in the summer, and then summer comes and I don't read them. So this summer, I'm gonna read them, okay? I don't know what they're about. We'll find out later. And then I also have Girl Abroad by Elle Kennedy. I don't think this is a specific summer book, but because she's going abroad, and that just feels summer to me. She's going to London, and she's living with like 3 guys or something like that. It's giving EXO Kitty. And there's like a love triangle here, and she's also like, I heard that there's also like a thing that she's like trying to figure out her family as well. I can't remember, but she's like looking for answers. Maybe this is not what I think it's about. Okay, yeah. It's a love triangle, and she's finding answers in London. And her father is strict. Okay. EXO Kitty. Love it. And then next we have a book that just came out yesterday. Not yesterday. 2 days ago. Right now it's Thursday for me. So this came out on Tuesday. This Tuesday. And that is One Golden Summer by Carly Fortune. Remember I mentioned that This Summer Will Be Different was her last release before her new release. Because this book is on her TBR. This follows Charlie from Every Summer After, from the first book. So you need to read that book before you read this book, okay? And it's his story on finding love. And that's all I know, and that's all I want to know, because Charlie wasn't very likable in Every Summer After. So I really want to go into this with not a lot of expectations, but I'm loving the cover. Look at the art inside. So summery. And they live like on this lake town. So it's perfect for the summer. Any of her books are perfect for the summer, but this one is giving more summer because of the cover. And then after that, we have My Friends by Frederick Bachman. I don't really know if this is giving summer, but the cover is. And then this is water. So like summer, hello. And Frederick Bachman has a very unique way of writing. He can just make you relate to any character. He can give you the perspective of any character, and you'll just feel for them, and you'll just be immersed in the story, and you'll care for them. Even the characters that you don't really agree with, you still care for them, and you still want to understand them. And it's just, this one I don't really know what it's about, but it's about some friends, right? Okay, so it's about friendship. It's about these 3 friends that, yeah, it's about these 3 friends. That's all I got from this. And a painting. Oh yeah, so these 3 friends were in a pool, and then there was a painting about them, and then this girl tries to figure out how the painting came to be. And she goes, and then I guess you learn their story. If you know anything about Frederick Bachman, his story could be about hockey. It could be about anything. But there's a deeper meaning, and it's just, everything's there. Everything in a good story is there. This is not romance, obviously, it's contemporary fiction, but love, or not contemporary fiction, like more literary fiction. He writes just so beautiful. Any book he reads, I'll read. Any book he writes, I'll read. Blah, 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 blah. Sorry. But yeah, love this. Gonna read it. I'm loving the cover, and I love how it's a Barnes & Noble exclusive, and it's their book club pick. So, slay. And last but not least, this book doesn't have a dust jacket because I got this book at a thrift store, and it's a book of the month, like, version. And it's called The Last Time I Lied, and it's a mystery. It's the only mystery on this list because I don't really read mystery. But it takes place in a summer camp. So I don't know the girl's name, but she's in a summer camp, and her friends disappear, and it's nobody knows what happens to them. But then like years later, she's forced to go back to that summer camp, and then just things start unraveling, and you're trying to figure out where she fits into this and how did everything happen. And yeah, so I really want to read this because it's been sitting on my shelf for a really long time. And also, like, I really do want to get into mystery. Like, I'm kind of a scaredy cat, so I don't really like reading mystery, even if it's not like a thriller. I just don't like creepy things happening. Like, it's just not me. But I'm really excited to read this because it's gonna be a change in the vibes, you know, because I'm gonna be reading so many beach reads, summery reads, and this will still be a summer book, but it's a summer camp, and it's like, it has suspense in it. So it's gonna be a good like filler book. It's gonna be a very good palette cleanser. That's what I was trying to get at. So yeah, So I'm excited to read this, and those are all the books on my summer TBR. Obviously, as more books come out, I will probably be adding them because there's a couple more releases this summer. Anyway, I hope you got some book recs out of this video, and I hope that you might read some of my summer TBR. I hope you read some of that. Maybe we can discuss it. But anyways, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.